Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Mike, aka Scarfinger, aka PTC AC representative. PTC AC representative. Uh, that was very difficult for me to say for some reason. I have no idea why. But I wanted to record something and I wanted to put some on wax because it was something that was not necessarily something on my heart. It's just something that's been coming up a little bit for the last couple of days, and something that I saw today really kind of made me really want to record something and put it on wax because I don't know who needs to hear this, but the internet is not your friend. The internet is not your friend at all. Now, here's why. I'll tell you where this thing started from and why I say this. Where this started from, I am in a fathers group on Facebook, and there's some ups and downs to being in a fathers group on Facebook, and one of the things that we kind of got away from was a lot of people like complaining about their baby mamas and stuff like that. So someone posted a video today, and it was of a father who recorded a video rapping. I guess his son had been rapping and recording quote unquote gangster rap, and so he recorded himself doing a rap, basically denouncing everything that his son was doing. And while that's a good thing, the internet didn't need to hear that. Like, they just didn't. And what happened was there was a lot of people that were commenting on the post that were commending him for doing what he did, and I'm like, that's cool. What he did, I see absolutely nothing wrong with what he did, why he did it, or anything of that nature. My problem is he put it on the internet, and by putting it on the internet, he may have created a bigger problem for his son. Why do I say this? Well, two reasons why I say this. One, I had my own issue with putting too much stuff on the internet. Like, as a lot of I went years ago in the what seems like the distant past of 2013. I went through a bad breakup, right? And it was traumatic, and I didn't quite know how to handle the feelings. So one of the things that I did to kind of help me deal was I started writing, and I started writing. I started a blog, a Tumblr blog, and I started just writing how I was feeling about the situation. And when I was writing and I was posting these, my ex-wife at the time asked me not to, and I was kind of in my feelings, and I didn't really quite understand why she wouldn't want me to do this. I was just kind of like, for lack of a better term, fuck her feelings. Because, I mean, to me at the time, I was feeling like she said fuck my feelings about the situation, so fuck her feelings on all of this. So I started releasing these blog posts, and I was just kind of writing about the whole situation from my perspective. And this is a time where I was much less evolved than I am now as a person, as a man, as a father, as an ex-husband, I guess. I was far less evolved as a person. And so I was just kind of spilling, and the writing wasn't bad. Like, if I really, really wanted to write, which is not really my thing, I feel like I'm better as just a communicator, as speaking. If I really wanted to write, I think that I can do it, and I think I can do it pretty decently. But at that time, I had a lot of people hitting me up, like in my DMs, in like messages, people that actually had my phone number were sending me messages of encouragement, and I was encouraged, of course, to kind of keep going. And meanwhile, my ex-wife at the time was just telling me, like, please stop doing this. And of course, I'm still team fuck her feelings. And eventually it got to a point to whereas she got tired of it, and she started saying things on Twitter. And emotionally, I wasn't equipped to deal with any kind of backlash at that time, let alone backlash from the person that I was writing about and I was getting all of this love from. I had a lot of people sending me messages. It was just like, yo, I had to deal with a bad breakup, and it was really, like you were able to put into words what I felt, and I was just kind of like, I was emboldened by that. I even had this said to me by my first therapist. My first therapist was just like, yo, I'm married now, but I had a bad breakup where basically something similar to what happened to me happened to him. And at one point, it almost felt like I was helping him more than he was helping me. So then I went, and then I, like, while I was writing, like, I got like really, really emboldened, and like I started writing, like, spilling more than I should have. I even wrote a poem. I recorded it because I personally, like I said, I think I'm a more effective communicator through what I say. So like I put all of this stuff on the internet, and when she said what she said, I completely lost my shit, and I recorded that too. And I put that on the internet. And that was the worst possible idea for me, because once the recording of me breaking really got out and people started listening, and then everything seemed to have turned against me. And it was weird because, when everything turned, it all turned at the same time, and it all turned from a few of the people that have been sending me messages giving me props. So at the time where I felt like, these people understood what was happening, and these people understood what I was feeling, and they were on my side about this, there was really no side for them to take. They were just kind of along with my misery. And when it all turned, a lot of them were now speaking not in private anymore, but in public places that was just kind of like, yo, dog's fucked up right now, and like what he's been doing has been fucked up, and all of this kind of stuff. Like they completely turned. I mean, I had DMs of people like sending me like songs and stuff like that, and like, it's like, hey, this song I used when I was going through what I was going through, and like all of this stuff. Like people were like really, really encouraging me. And while that seemed really great, but when it all turned, and these exact same people were now calling me everything other than my name, and saying how fucked up I've been and all of this other stuff. And I basically became a pariah to like these people who I thought were on my side, people I thought were my friends, and all of that kind of stuff. And it made me feel worse. Honestly, it made me feel worse, because at the end of the day, if I knew how to handle those feelings, if I knew how to handle this situation properly, I probably would have listened to my ex-wife and kept this shit to myself. Even if I did the writing, I've done writings before that I never shared, just kind of like putting my feelings down, because sometimes just getting it out of you, getting it off of you kind of helps. But like recording it and making that blog and recording audio, just really changed a lot for me. And I got to see who a lot of people really were at the end of the day. And that let me know that I probably shouldn't be speaking or just talking or like really anything about my relationship anymore on social media of any kind. And that's a thing that I've carried with me since that moment when everything changed for me. I didn't really talk very much about like my relationship after, and you know, I don't share a lot on social media because at the end of the day, I feel like that's for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like whoever my person, you know, end up being at that after that, that's for me. That's not for everyone. And like, I don't want to share too much because, you know, you get these things on Facebook where you see two people are in love and they're sharing everything about their lives, and it's just kind of like sometimes you see like this is gonna go bad. But I'm one of those people that's like, I'm reading along, just trying to keep up with how everything's going. And when it goes bad, I kind of want to hear from you too. And I kind of want to hear why it goes bad, because I'm one of those people on the other side now, where I'm one of those people that's just waiting for some shit to happen just so I have something that I can read or listen to or just think about, because sometimes it's better to do that than to think about your own life in some cases. And so like I had my small sphere of the internet turn against me, and that crushed my world, because I thought at the time that everything, because I was a podcaster, you know, I used to live on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Like, I felt like if those aspects of my life were public, then this should be public too. It doesn't. It really doesn't. And you have to be careful about what you put out there, because people are really looking at your things. And I learned this the hard way. People are really looking at all of this stuff just so they could talk about you. Like, they're not, you know, they might send you a message saying, hey, I like what you're doing and all of that other stuff. But at the end of the day, what they're really doing is finding a way to judge you in their conversations with others. They're telling you one thing just to keep you going, so they have more entertainment about your life. But at the end of the day, it's not really for you. And that's when I realized, for me personally, that the internet is not your friend. Because I really thought that all of these people were my friends, and it turned on me. And then there's another situation where just years ago, there was a young man who was trying to be in a gang. His uncle heard about it, and on camera, and the video was posted on Facebook, he whooped him with a belt, telling him, like, and then told him to tell the camera that he's not a gangster and this is not the life he should lead. And while that was great for him to do, that wasn't for the internet. Because what happened to this young man, the embarrassment of that video made him have to go harder. Like me, what happened to me, I was an adult, and I could, you know, therapy and all that kind of stuff. I learned to deal with my stuff. But for young people, like, that young man didn't have any recourse but to accept it, and accept being clowned, because this video was being circulated around Facebook and everywhere like that. So, or he can go harder to try to prove that he is not what was on that video. And that's what this young man chose. He chose to go harder into that life that his uncle was trying to prevent him from being, the kind of person that his uncle was trying to prevent him from being. He became that person and died a few months later from being shot, because, of course, he had to go harder in this aspect in order to satisfy the people that he was around, because he was embarrassed by his uncle. So, and this has happened in several other aspects, right? Like, we get off on watching Kanye kind of crack the fuck up. And like, because he was egged on in the beginning, he keeps doing worse and worse and worse things. And he doesn't realize, well, first of all, I don't think Kanye's in his right mind. Second of all, he probably hasn't had a situation where this turned on him in the way that it turned on some others. And there's been there's a lot of these videos of people like kind of punishing their children on camera. Like this lady was mad at her son because he had a bunch of bad grades, and she like destroyed his Xbox or his PlayStation, whichever one, on camera and all of this kind of stuff. And like, your child needs to hear you, and your child is the only person that needs to hear you in that moment. You didn't need to put that out on the internet. That's not for the internet, because these people are not your friend. The internet is not your friend. And when it turns, you're gonna look and feel as dumb as I did, because I didn't listen when it was being told to me that this wasn't the right thing to do. But I shrugged it off because team fuck her feelings at the time. Fuck her feelings. That's how I felt. But when it turned on me, I did not feel, I felt lower than I already did I felt lower than I already did because of the reason why I was doing that stuff in the first place. It made me feel worse because it turned, and it's almost always going to turn. Like when your name is being spoken in a negative way in places you've never been, that's a problem. I didn't realize it was a problem for me, and I'm pretty sure that uncle is resentful. I mean, is sorry for what he did, and sorry for putting that on the internet, because that led his nephew down that path to whereas he felt like he needed to do something more than what he was doing, and that eventually led to his death. And even if you think your situation is smaller than the two situations that I just spoke on, one thing you have to realize is, like, doing a rap for your son is great. If you are communicating to him in the way that you feel like he understands, that's great. But do that shit for him. You shouldn't be doing that for us. Period. Don't do anything. Don't do anything that doesn't benefit your child. And the moment that video goes online, it doesn't benefit your child anymore. It does absolutely nothing for your child. Nothing good for your child, I'll say that. It does nothing good for your child. Because now people are talking about what the parent did, and not, it's like the parent is grandstanding. And now the parent is like, the one that wants the attention for this. And I'm sorry, but that'll never be a thing for me. I don't put stuff about my relationship. I put very few things about my child, even though my child has her own Facebook page that she rarely uses. But because she's young and they think that Facebook is the old people place. But just even in general, I don't put very much. I mean, I'll put a picture up here and there, but I don't do that. I wouldn't do that to her, because who knows who's going to see that. And if her classmates get a hold of some corny shit her dad said, it could lead her down a path that I would never want to see her go on. So like, no matter what you're dealing with, like, you could be dealing with a bad breakup like I did. You could be going through some situations with your kids like my man, like the uncle did, or just anything. Keep that shit off the internet. Yo, I'm saying this as somebody who has done this, who has ignored advice and did it anyway, and 100%, like, keep your business. Like, you can talk about some stuff, how you feel about some things or whatever like that, but when it comes to something like that, keep your business off the internet. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. And the only thing that this can do, honestly, even if it does blow up. Let's say you blow up and you go viral. Now you're going viral for, heartbreak, or you're going viral because of a reason that you shouldn't be going viral, and like people only know you for that. So when people come to talk to you, they're only coming to talk to you on that, and it has nothing to do with the way things really are. So I don't know. I know I've been saying on the podcast that I've been wanting to do like a solo show where I just kind of turn on the microphone and just start talking. And, that was going to be a little bit more topical, kind of like this, where it's kind of topical. And I've been procrastinating. I've been procrastinating about doing this for months. I've been procrastinating about a lot of things for months. But like, this is just on my heart. And I just felt the need to say this out loud, and I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't. I say this sincerely. Call your bestie. Talk to a therapist if you feel like you need to. But keep your business off the internet. The internet is not your friend. Not at all. Alright. I know this is a kind of weird thing, like to be like the first topic in whatever this new thing is, but I just kind of wanted to talk about some things that it was just on my heart to say. And I know like a lot of people are just going to be like, well, that happened to you. That's not saying it's going to happen to me. It can happen to any of us. If it happened to me, somebody who's pretty much a nobody, it made me feel the way that it made me feel once everything changed for me, this thing can damage you too. To the extent, who knows? But it can actually damage you too. And I need you to know that if you know me and you going through some stuff, I'd much rather you call me or send me a message or something like that than to be dealing with this through the internet. Like I would implore you to do the same for the people that you know. Call somebody. Call your mama and them. Call your daddy and them. Call your cousin and them. Call somebody. Don't like this. The internet is not your friend. And on that, I think I've already talked too long. I've done 20 minutes on this just out of, I do this. So talking is what I do. But yeah, do anything other than putting your stuff up online for people to see. Keep your business off the internet. The internet is not your friend. Till next one. Peace.